Hey everybody, let's get right into our feedback for Unit 13. Things are starting to really heat up. We're getting toward the end, and I really want you guys to all have a successful website because that is our final, and it's worth a huge portion of our grade. So I'm going to need to definitely see that you are addressing the feedback, fixing the issues that you have, and really stepping it up. The next couple weeks are going to be not weeks to just slide in and do your website at the last second. So I want you to really pay attention to the feedback this week. And I haven't made it a requirement yet, but if you're smart, you're going to want to do that. And I can see that some of us, just kind of blew it off, and that makes me sad, but even to the point of redoing. So anywho, let's get me out of the way and get right to looking at our work. So we're going to start with Michael because he was first to submit, and I can't really tell much from here. It almost looks like a quilt pattern, but I know there's something exciting going on. So we're going to go ahead and go to Bridge. And already it's bigger, and this is where I double-clicked and opened it up in Photoshop. So I've got a couple Photoshops open. So let's just go ahead and kind of slide through Dylan's work with a closer look. And yeah, I also love the title that you came up with, and I love that we can read what the mannequin's reading. This, I'm not sure if there's a lot of glue there or what's happening, but it kind of reminds me of an electric chair. So you'll have to tell me if I'm wrong there. Oh, it could also be a king, I guess, right? Okay. Again in the chair, and I find seeing the little details of things kind of fascinating. I usually, before I would take a macro picture, close-up picture of something like this, I would usually just pull off those little strings of the hot glue. And yeah, that crown's kind of awesome. So these are all very cool. Okay, we'll go back to the first row and go down until we can see all of them. Seven Habits, Highly Effective Teens. Oh, that is awesome. And I get that. I think what you're doing is trying to give us a couple different options. Yeah, between those two. The one on the right is brighter and more glowy. This one's a little bit more like shadowy, just a tiny bit, but it really changes the mood. And I would definitely select your subject out and then do the inverse and just kind of soften those lines in the background with your blur tool. And if anything you don't remember, you can look back at the past week's video, or you can ask your best friend Google. Google never fails me. I always find it somewhere. It might take a little extra looking. Okay, so here we have our hero in front of a painting, I believe. I can't really tell what that one's about. And this one, that looks like another language. So it looks like you did some heavy editing here, and I wonder what the reasoning is behind that. Okay, this could be actually really great if you could get maybe a sharp shadow. Like imagine, a strong light shining in one direction. Maybe another strong light shining in the other direction, and you can get double shadows, and so he's like surrounded by maybe his angel thoughts and his devil thoughts, or you know what I mean, just something kind of like that's easy to read. People love that stuff. Plus you bring into it your own ideas, really. Maybe other people aren't thinking like me at all. They're thinking, okay, which person am I going to be today? Okay, so it looks like we got a lot of these, but they're really fun. But I would say amongst all of the man in the chair, I like the ones with the crown, and I would choose one of those. Same goes for looking at the book. I would choose one of those. And that's really cool. Is that like a ring light for photography, or you gotta tell me? That's cool. That's fun. And look how blue he looks here too. He's picking up some color from the background. Oh, that's pretty much the bomb. But I do want you to go ahead and fade out these folds. It's gonna make it better, even better. Okay, go back to the beginning. You still have to tell me how you get that frame that looks like it's Kodak film, because that takes me right back. Okay, this one, not sure what's happening. I'm guessing that it's supposed to go the other way, but you'll have to tell me about that one. And then we've got a lot of choices for this scenario. See, now that's really cool. I like how it appears that the drips are maybe chasing him, and we've got a nice shadow. This looks a little bit like something coming out of his head, but you'll run into that. That's the one thing we're supposed to be careful about. Okay, and again, love it. Love this scene. Oh my. I guess he's having a bad day today, and it's a little one of those little mini bottles. That's so cute. I noticed that it's empty. Wasn't it empty? Or was that for effect? Okay, Michael, great stuff going on here. I'm gonna close out this image. Maybe I have to minimize it. Or maybe it's not going to let me do anything inside the window. Oh well, we can work around that. Okay, so we'll go back to, oh, these are the ones that Michael thought were the best, and he's edited them. I didn't even see this happened. Okay, that's fantastic. I like it. I don't know if it's my favorite though. But it must be yours because you chose those two. Okay, I would suggest listening to feedback and see which one is your most compelling. Which one tells the story the best and could be interpreted in maybe multiple ways, right? That's what art is. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the next person in line, which is Michaela. And Michaela's got this cool contact sheet. Let's see if I can get it to open. Yeah, I think I have to figure out. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video and okay, so Michaela was next, and I was looking at her photos, and her photos follow her contact sheet, so we'll come back to those. Here's her contact sheet, and I just double clicked on this smaller image to open it in Photoshop so we can look at it carefully. Oh, I see your main model is trying out a new hair color. I think that's really cute. It is. Yeah, stand out. So, let's take a look at what you've got here. So this, I'm guessing, is your personal choice. And you've got several versions of each shot for us to look at and try to figure out, try to help you which one's the best. All right, I'll tell you what I like. So if you have two images that are very similar, you're going to have to choose one. And let me put myself out of the way here. So on the far left, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's a different shot. So we've got 1, 2, 3. That's kind of a toughie. They're all good in different ways. I wonder what she thinks too. Like this one feels really melancholy, and I like that about it. The third one's really straightforward, you know, but holding back a little bit. And then this one is just, you know, I'm looking in your eyes. So I don't think I would choose the first one. I would choose this one, probably the melancholy one. It's the most interesting to me. And then row 2, I really like this idea of her looking in the distance, maybe in the future, and I love this one. This one is my favorite, absolutely. I love that we can see out the window what she's looking at. We can see her really well, and it's just really like, you know, filling the frame, which is one of our compositional guidelines, remember, from the beginning? Way back, like, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, feels like. This third one, third row, it kind of bothers me a little just because, I mean, I don't know if maybe you meant to put the lamp on top of her head, kind of like a crown. So I'm not real crazy about that idea, but this one, it actually looks like a crown rather than a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Like this one, it's not perfect, so we're wondering why she got that hat on. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that row. Okay, and then the next one. Those feel a little bit, I hate to say ordinary, but just like, you know, like anybody would do, you know? Yeah, and if you're going to pick 3, I would suggest those 3 that I pointed out. This one wouldn't be bad, too bad. It's a little dark, but you could always increase the contrast. But those 3 that I chose those would be my favorites. Okay, now let's go back and look at the rest of your posts. Okay, so you were talking about, I guess at the end here, this is your top 10 best. I still think that's a great photo. It really captures him and his feelings, and it's, you know, it's almost like a dare. So I like that a lot. And this one we've talked about a lot. And I wonder if you did do the subjective the selection editing that we were talking about in the video last week, because it all looks a little bit flat there. See, this one looks nice and sharp, and we see all the detail. So I think this one would work better if maybe just the background were soft. Does that make sense? I think you were my example last week too. I would try that. And you know I love this picture. So cute, and that one's cute too. You know, it's like a candid. So you could have a candid category, candid photography. This is such a great picture. Yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool that it's like light and dark naturally. I honestly might crop away a little bit, just make it about, you know, the main trees and not this one partial tree. So like right about there. Might try that. Don't lose the bottom. That's too important. It anchors it, you know, the ground. So what I do when I want to crop something to an odd size, like I told you to try and keep the same ratio for everything, and please do that if you can. If not, you're just cropping out a part that you don't like, or you just think it would work better without it, you just click on ratio in your drop down menu and above the crop tool. And then you can just clear out the numbers. Ratio means whatever ratio. I kind of like that choice. I like this one. I like this interaction here, and I like the color. Other than that, I'm not a big fan. Like, I would straighten out this background with the straighten tool, but then we're gonna miss this. We're gonna miss that beautiful blue. So I don't know if we can keep that one. Okay, this would have been a still life shoot, right? And this could be toy portraits. You know, that could be, maybe you're inventing a new category there. Okay, so you don't have to edit the whole picture at once, absolutely. The adjustments icon, oh yeah, big time. You use it all the time. And skin tones, okay. We're gonna try healing tool, and I'll show you spot healing too. And how to get more depth, the easiest way is just to contrast, add contrast. Okay, so I'm going to minimize that, minimize this just for a second, and I've got this other version of Photoshop open, ready to show you those tools. So these two pictures, this was an assignment my daughter had in one of her art classes, where she had to you know, like kind of dress up as a famous artwork. You've seen those kind of things, right? They're all over the place, or they were a while back. And so she decided to do Madame Matisse by Matisse. That's his wife, and you know how he had those crazy, crazy colors. So I liked how it turned out, but looking carefully at it, I can see some things that I might want to fix. So I'm going to close the original, and I'm going to just kind of zoom in here so I can see the problem areas. So one thing I might do is I might, oh, we've got to go with spot healing and healing. Okay, so over here is spot healing. Okay, so spot healing is when you have a spot that you want to get rid of. Could be like a blemish, could be just something that doesn't look good in the picture. She did this like in 5 minutes because she was behind. So like maybe I want to get rid of this bump. So with spot healing, you've got to select a similar pattern that's nearby, and you click option, and then oops, oh, that's the one, that's the other one. That's the healing tool. So spot healing will just select similar areas all by itself. So see, if I do that, that little bump is gone. So I can go around my merry way and get rid of any little bump I want to get rid of. So that's kind of fun. Great for blemishes, you know, pretty much. Now that one I don't really like because it made too big of a difference. Now it looks a little odd. So I can edit, undo. Okay, and then the healing brush, that's where you have to do, it shows you a little mini tutorial here usually. So you have to select an area. So let's see, wow, that is a little tiny. Let's see, okay, so here's where we press Option, click, and then we can go Spot Heal. I think that just my brush size is really tiny there. Oh yeah, look at that, it's like a pixel. Okay, so this spot looks good, so I'm going to Option, click, and then I can, almost like, just like Clone Stamp, I can fix an area that I don't really like, Option, click, and then get rid of that, you know, kind of weird bumpy area that I'm not really a fan of. So if it ever doesn't work out, you know, you can edit and go back. You could also do edit, fade. So you can fade the last thing that you did, and you could make it a little bit more transparent so you can see some of the old and some of the new. So that could be a really helpful tool actually. Okay, I think that's fine. I was just worried about this little shadow here. I didn't want to get rid of that. Okay, so hopefully that helps with healing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. And let's go back to the discussion board. Okay, so we finished with Michaela. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan, I cannot tell you how disappointed I am that you are turning in pictures from Colorado again in 2019. Nothing from this class at all, not a single thing. And if that doesn't beat all, your contact sheet is the one that you used last week, which is also old pictures that you took before this class. With the exception of, I think maybe these you used at one point, but I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. So that is a redo, all the way, redo. I love that you love landscape photography, but you're going to have to take new pictures for the course, period. And the recap video, what you say here doesn't lead me to believe that you even watched it. I didn't know about that feature until I saw you use it in the example. What feature? I don't even know what you're referring to. You could just be, you know, generalizing and hoping it sounds like you did. It does not. Okay, so that's a redo for Dylan. Let's go ahead and look at Kaverion. Kaverion is always so positive. And we got a lot of beautiful color. And a doggy. Who doesn't love the doggy? Everybody loves the doggy. Okay, now let's look at your faves. So these are the ones that you edited. I like this one. I think this one turned out well. It's not like an obvious selection tool, you know, one of those pictures where we can see all of the noise around the selection, kind of like this one. So you selected out, you know, some things, but there's some problems here. I think you see what I mean. Okay, so you got most of that wrought iron stand, but then this is kind of blurred. This totally blurs out. Yeah, we've got this little piece here. So that's not careful selection. And even the chains on this object that you left to be clear are blurry. So it's a very confusing image. In addition, we see that it's, you know, like a store-bought product here. So we need to get rid of that kind of stuff. What you need to do if you want to get shallow depth of field is go back to when we did depth of field, and how you do it is you make your aperture, like your f number, really, really small, and then when you focus on your subject that's near to you and carefully, you know, hold the camera still until you're sure you're going to get a steady shot. Some cameras you can push the shutter release halfway to get it to focus on what you want, but you've got to be very still. You almost have to get a tripod, but I can usually make my human tripod by pulling my arms in tight. But yeah, you need to get real depth of field and not this stuff that doesn't look real. Okay, now this one worked because that looks like you really did it. You really got a shallow depth of field there, genuinely. Maybe not. See, I see a little bit of a blur, like a halo. So that one's more believable, but we need to go a little bit more advanced than the method that you're using. Okay, I know it's possible, but I'd like to see some great images in camera. And these, you know, those were fine images. Okay, again, we have where you're selecting the subject as an adorable little doggy. But one of his paws is faded, and then we've got all this odd noise here. So this just ended up looking weird. Even though the doggy's such a good model. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I like all the color. I think I would play with a little contrast and maybe use saturation and make it pop a little bit more. And I might need to show you how to recover that sky. It is, you know, washed out, blown out, completely white. So that means overexposed. And here we have one of those weird selections, very obviously. And the colors in that sky are gorgeous. So this is nice. It's too bad you couldn't get it without the power lines. I love how the air even looks pink. And I think this is an interesting photo. I like it. And I love palmettos. Those are beautiful. Okay, this one is too blurry. And it's, you know, you see how it's a little crooked? We would want to straighten that with the straighten tool. But it's too blurry to use. Okay, so I hope that gave you some feedback that you can use and reshoot what you need to. And if this is your personal choice series, then, you know, you could pick your top 3 most well received, or, you know, reshoot and go from there. Okay, and Caden. Okay, Caden, we're gonna go look at these pictures a little more closely. So I'm gonna go to my bridge and open these up so we can see. Remember, Command plus is how you look at something more closely. And it won't nudge because, number one, because it's locked. So now it will nudge, and I'm just going to start it in the corner because I don't want to really move the entire picture to a weird place. The best way to do it is by using your sliders. Okay, so that's our top corner. All right, so you were wondering what happened